So we're about halfway crossing from Santorini to Crete. We are having some good sailing conditions. It was a little bit of motoring, a little bit of light sailing before, mostly motoring. Just didn't really have the wind. The wind was right behind us. And now we've got the wind almost abeam to us, and just 10, 11, 12 knots of wind, and we're doing about 6 knots of boat speed. So it's great. We kind of had a threshold that we would motor if we were below 5.5 knots, so that we would get into Crete not too late. Definitely not before nightfall. So we're going to the marina there, and I just talked to them on the phone, and they know we're coming and have space for us, so that was good. But it's been going well. We've had just, now that we've turned the motor off, and been sailing for the last hour or so, it's been great conditions, just gentle sailing, 5.5, 6 knots of speed.
Hi, I'm Karen, and my husband is Tom. Welcome to Life 4.0, where we share our experiences of living aboard Sea Rose, our 44-foot sailboat, while we travel together to new and exciting destinations.
We are anchored in Canosos.
Life 4.0 finds us taking an early retirement so we can travel and explore while we have the health and energy to do this in the way that we want. We spend about half of each year on our sailboat and the rest enjoying land-based living and exploration with a home base in the northeast of the United States. We hope you enjoy our Life 4.0 as you think about shaping your own. There is only one go at this thing called life. Make the most of it.
Crete's supposed to be a pretty tall island. Got a big mountain range running down the middle of it, but can't see any of it right now. But we'll probably be able to see that in a couple hours, I'd assume. But great sailing conditions. None of this sort of crazy 25, 30 knots of wind we've had when we're in the Claudes and Dodecanese. So we'll be arriving in good shape if it can hold up this kind of speed. We're doing 2-hour watches, so it kind of gives the off-watch person, a decent amount of a break. 1-hour watch would be all right. We sometimes do that, but 2 hours gives us a little bit more time to get things done, whatever it is, journaling, reading, research on where we're going, or fixing things and all that. So that works well for us during the daytime.
We are in Gouves Marina, and just on Crete. We just got here. It's near Heracleon, and we spent the afternoon, the early evening, because we didn't get here until about 6 o'clock, cleaning. We got all of this salt off the boat. We had a crazy mess of way too much salt over time collecting everywhere. So we washed the boat down really well, and then I looked over here and I noticed this beautiful moon sitting right there on top of the mountain. So yeah, it's almost full. I need to look it up. I think it's tomorrow is full, but anyway, it should be a beautiful moon tonight. We can't wait to explore Crete. We will probably be here about a week. And right here, there's nothing special necessarily, but nearby is a Minoan palace that was built over 2,000 years ago that was partially restored. So we can't wait to go check that out, and other archaeological sites, other sites of interest. There's a lot of Venetian influence here. Venice controlled Crete for a period of time, and so there's a lot of Venetian influence, especially around the harbors. So we're looking forward to checking that out. A walk on shore as the sun takes its exit is a perfect way to end a day on the water. The following morning, we set off in a rental car for the Knossos Palace, roughly 20 miles away from the marina. The roads wound steeply up and over a mountain pass, then meandered into the village of Canosos. The first of 2 Minoan palaces that existed on this hillside is believed to have been built around 1900 BC. Earthquakes likely destroyed it around 1700 BC, and it was immediately rebuilt. It is believed that most buildings on Crete, including those in this area, were destroyed during the explosion of the volcano at Santorini, which, according to most recent estimates, occurred in the first half of the 16th century BCE, around 1600 and 1525. The Mycenaeans invaded Crete around this time and used Knossos as their capital of the island until 1375 BC. While the grounds are impressive, one can't truly appreciate the civilization without a visit to the Archaeological Museum in the city of Heraclion, which we did that afternoon. First, though, we needed to visit a couple of Crete's wineries. We had to travel just a bit further south from Canosos to find several of them. They looked easy enough to navigate to, so we plugged one of their addresses into Google Maps, and off we went. Okay, we are going wine tasting. Yep, keep going this way. And we just got onto a dirt road, and Google's taking us through this olive orchard. It's pretty nutty, but you never really know. You're just turning down through these narrow streets. These are olive trees on the left and right. They're hardly wide enough to pass through, but supposedly at the end of this road there will be a winery, or I guess most of the wines in Crete are produced in this region. It's called Heraclion, the area. It's sort of central Crete from an east-west perspective, and on the northern shore. And yes, we're still going the right direction.
It's coming up. Are you serious? Jesus.
Look at this. Supposedly we're going down to a main road. Oh, for God's sakes. I don't know how we're going to back up, so I think we have to go down. Start sliding, huh? Gee whiz. This is crazy steep. Hopefully the brakes will hold. And look, there's a little VW bug right here. So here is a fig tree right there, straight ahead of us. Figs are not ripe right now. So you see these all over the place. You see fig trees that are just growing natural. And we've seen a fair bit of vineyards, which is good since we're going wine tasting. Vineyards are straight ahead of us over there. And
It's good that we're on the shortest road there. That was helpful, Mr. Google.
Thanks, Google, for taking us the shortest way. Look at that main road right here.
Could have taken that. No, Google had to send us on the
Oh my God.
up and over road.
Oh my God. So this is like a brand new road here. So supposedly we're supposed to go underneath here, but check it out. So it's like barely finished construction.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Water drainage. Seriously.
Yeah, and we're still going straight.
This is one of the more popular wine tours right here.
Oh my goodness, this road can't be passable. Ugh.
Wow.
So just keep this tire over here on the right. Yep, there you go.
Should run it in ATV.
Yes. So have no fear. We just took the back way. It's here's the manufacturing area. They have a tasting up here. And Fabrica, yes, must mean factory, yep. So we're gonna do a Crete wine tasting.
It's the Villana.
Okay.
Villana is a white. And then we have the flea. The flea
Rainy days don't seem so wet. Stormy nights don't stay.
We love this quaint winery. As we set off for the next one, we thought, it surely can't be any harder to find. Well, we'll show you later what we went through to get here. Luckily, they served a yummy lunch and had some pretty good wines as well.
Mm-hmm. talk for hours and never slept. Two silhouettes on the concrete steps. We watched the sun as it slowly.
This is where most people park when it comes to Florida. But we didn't quite do that.
We didn't make it to the parking lot.
No.
Here's another alternative for
Another place to park.
another place to park, not very far away. Listen to all the cicadas. All right, we'll be.
Here's another place to park.
Here's
over
another
here.
place to park. Yeah.
This would be perfectly good too. Somewhere
Yeah.
in the shade.
Yeah.
But no.
No,
didn't
we
do
found a
that.
very special place. Ah, here we go.
Ah,
This would be the entrance if you drive in the right place.
yeah.
This is the entrance.
And the parking.
The alternative parking.
overflow.
So our parking is a little ways down here. And you gotta watch your step. Otherwise you may trip over big boulders in the road. Air quotes, road.
Theoretically, you could drive on it.
Yeah, theoretically. Oh my god, the cicadas are so loud. Woo! And they're all in the trees.
Walking back to the restroom and something like tapped me on the head and flew away. That must be a little hard.
Yeah. So we're still walking. We're not quite as far as that village, but we're a ways. People are thinking we're crazy that we actually hiked here, but we didn't. We drove here. Believe it or not. Look, the road's paved.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, we'll make it. The road's paved.
This is a lesson on why you don't want to follow Google Maps every time.
And there's our somewhat abandoned car. And I'm quite concerned about getting out of here because although this road looks bad, we came up several kilometers on an equally bad road. So here's our parking place. Yeah, I think we should pick some grapes. Wonder which varietal this is. There's tons on there. They're harvesting. They said it's very similar to California. They harvest based on the varietal and the particular growing season. They may harvest anywhere from late August into early to mid-October. Okay, here we go. Oh, very scary. And look,
This is the don't go too far.
don't look too far over to the edge and hope that there's no little minor earthquake right now. I'm sure this is wonderful for trucks that need to tend to the grapes.
Yeah, all the grapes.
However, for a teeny little European sedan, micro, it is not ideal. We've actually gotten down to a major road.
This is a highway.
Back on the main roads, we quickly made it into the city of Heraclion and viewed the first of many Venetian harbors we would come across.
All right, we're headed out from Porto Guvez Marina over there. 2 nights, fun stay, full moon, sitting down over the ridge over there, and on the other side we've got the sun just peeking up over the horizon. Felt like it was just a couple hours ago I was looking at it going down the horizon. So we had a good stay here. We rented a car for a day and drove into Heraclion, which is down over there, about a 20-minute drive. Very big city. I wouldn't say it's very appealing to the city itself to go to, except for their archaeological museum, which was very good. And then we went into the hillside a little bit up to a place called Canosos, which is remains of an old palace, and some people say it's the oldest remains in Europe. Egypt is a little bit older than that, but 4,000 years ago is when they estimate that it was built, and even before that there were Neolithic settlements there thousands of years before that. So yeah, we had a fun visit, and it wasn't picturesque like the Cyclades or the Dodecanese or Santorini, but still very interesting to see the culture here in Crete. You know, it's a big island with big cities, and you know, people move along with their life and going to work and all that. So we didn't expect it to be that touristy, but just wanted to understand the culture and the environment here. Now we're moving on to what's the name of the port we're going to? Rethymno, about 40 miles down the coast. We know we're going to have headwinds along the coast here going west, and we left early to try to minimize that, and also give us some time to get there. We're not really quite sure. We were told we need a reservation before we get there, or at least notify them ahead of time. It shouldn't be a problem with the lack of boating this summer, but we're trying to give ourselves as much time as we can in case we need to do a plan B. All these little harbors have a kind of an inner harbor that they call a Venetian harbor. Sometimes they're a little too shallow for us, but the Venetian harbor in Heraclion looked like it might have been workable if we ever needed to go in there. There were sailboats in there, a lot of power boats. But kind of interesting that, you know, that's the first harbor they built, and then we've come along in modern times and they've built a large breakwater, bigger space for ferries, probably cruise ships to come into. So that's the deal in Crete this morning. Getting going, trying to wake up. Just was looking forward on our course, and I saw this floating in the water, and as it's getting closer, it looks like a dinghy, maybe at least an oar or two floating here. Not sure what's going on. I know we had an offshore wind early this morning, so it might have blown off from one of the marinas or dock areas or something like that. It's actually a nice looking little dinghy. One oar. One of the things I really like about Greece is many of the harbors are where you tie up at are you know, working harbors. You've got a car ferry here, and you got a cargo tanker right there. Always stuff going on. People coming off of ferries, trucks going on. All right next to a harbor for pleasure boats, and of course fishing boats as well. But we just came in here a couple hours ago. We're tied up over there, but it's kind of nice to kind of be part of a sort of working environment. And you know, the Greeks with their tie to the sea, kind of makes sense that the marinas that they have are not just for pleasure, but for all the workings that go on an island. It's like this guy's done this before. Not a lot of passengers right now with COVID, so it's kind of the rare person who's walking on board. Yep. But a real working harbor. During the Ottoman Empire, the Turks had control of Crete, and you can see there's a minaret down there in sort of the old port. So some remnants of Turkish control. The Arabs ran the island for a while, and the Venetians took it over after a period of the Crusades. and built the harbor across the way. We're going to go for a walk there later tonight.
There are so many restaurants here. They line the several streets along this waterfront walk and several blocks right around the Venetian harbor as well. The hosts were definitely hustling to get you to eat at their establishment, but we ventured away from the touristy waterfront and picked a place in an old section of the town. It ended up being quite popular with the locals. We had far too much wine on this lovely evening.
Well, that was a hassle. Just got back from going to the marina office, and the port police were in Rethymno in Crete, and the marina was okay, just that I had to go in there to pay our overnight fee, all of 14 euros. Actually, they told me it was only going to be 7 euros over the phone, so I could have gotten upset about that. It was twice as much, but hey, it's 14 euros. And a bunch of paperwork, copying and all that, but that was okay. Then I had to go to the port police, because technically when you're cruising in Greece as a non-EU boat, you were given what's called a transit log, and you're supposed to check in and check out of each port that you go to in Greece. And the word on the street or the internet is that you don't really need to go every time, every port, but you should go at least a couple times for a season, and that's what we did last year. And this year we're trying to be a little bit more thorough about it because of COVID and maybe sensitivity to us being Americans. So, but when you go, you have to tell them like when you arrived in the port, when you're leaving, and where you're going to the next port. And we stop at other ports in between. And sometimes I think that's legitimate if you're going to an anchorage where there's like no, civilization around, or a small town that doesn't have a port police or a port authority. My understanding is it's acceptable to do that, and obviously you can't check in there. But we don't go to every port police. So, but here in Rethymno, I went, and I think I got somebody who was unfamiliar with the process, because as soon as I handed them my transit log, they asked for something called the tepei, which is the Greek cruising tax, and we paid that for the month of July and August. But she was unfamiliar with the form that I had. Normally there's something printed out from a computer, and this was a hand-filled out form, so she's like, I don't see where you paid it. And then I said, I paid for 2 months. She says, well, it's not clear here where it says 2 months. And she took it away and asked other people and talked and came back and said I had to go to a computer and log in and print out some form, and I have no idea how to log into this system. So in the end, she had the paper in front of me, and I turned to the second page, and the second page said I paid 2 months, and the third page said it was valid through the end of August, which is right now. So if she had just looked at those other pages, it would have been fine, but kind of made me nervous, because a lot of these port authority figures, they can stop you and prevent you from moving on, and I had no idea if that was going to be the case this time.
If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notified of new videos.
Now we're official, and we're moving on today to Hene, and we're probably going to have to go through the same port police process there, because I told them that's where we're going to, so you have to be kind of clear that if you say you're going to go someplace, to actually check into the port police there. So.
Tomorrow, and in our next episode, we will be off to the very special harbor town of Hania, though we hadn't yet learned how to pronounce its name properly. While there, we hike one of the many famous gorges of the southern region of Crete. Thanks for watching, and be sure to join us next time.